All right, so as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday, and we are now 53 days away from the Oscar nominations being announced on January 17th, a little less than 100 days away from the ceremony in March, I wanted to just give a little bit of an update on the Oscar Best Picture slate, and at least where I see things shaking out for now. I'll bounce it off of you, see whether or not you agree with some of my assessments of the movies that could potentially be in the mix for Oscars later this year. So I've got 15 movies highlighted here, 10 that I think are in the lead, and 5 that are potential upsets or underdogs when we get down to it. And just starting off with some of the movies that feel like pretty strong bets. We've talked about Anora a lot on the podcast. It is some of people's favorite movie of the year. That is likely getting into the Best Picture slate. It won the Palme d'Or, which is a pretty good signifier. The Brutalist, which many people are talking about as one of the year's masterpieces. I think it's a sure bet to get a bunch of like technical nominations and probably some above the line ones as well. I would be surprised if it doesn't get into that final 10. Conclave, which we've talked about as well on the podcast. Just a real good pot boiler that like sort of hints at some deeper ideas. I don't know how vividly it explores all of them, but
you're missing a star here, bro.
I mean, look, it's a real solid movie, and
it is.
I think a lot of people agree with you, and that is going to power its way into the Oscars discussion.
Conclave Hive. Big thumbs up on that one for sure, right off the bat.
Yeah. My next one, I know you have a big thumbs up with Dune Part 2. It is the blockbuster juggernaut of the year. I know some people think that Wicked is going to also be a big factor. I have Wicked as well. We'll get to that in a sec. But I still think Dune Part 2, just on a technical aspect alone, is probably going to walk away with a statue or two, as well as that Best Picture nomination.
So. You would think so.
Yeah. Amelia Perez, it seems to have taken a lot of people by storm. You know, people really loved this one out of Cannes, and even though it is pretty divisive, I think the love for it is going to be strong enough to get it in there, because ultimately what you need to get Oscar nominations are people who list your film as one of the best couple they saw in the year, and the people who love Amelia Perez really love Amelia Perez. So I think that one gets in as well.
I'm burnt on that one. I don't see it other than maybe an acting award. But if it does, tell me.
Well, the thing is, the acting branch is the largest branch of the Academy. And a lot of times you see a pretty big overlap with films that get a lot of acting nominations, or those lead acting nominations, especially lead actor, but that's another discussion. So if you have films that are contenders in those categories, there's a decent chance that they'll be contenders in picture as well. But part of the thing that we're seeing, at least, now we're 5 movies into my slate. There is no clear front runner in a way that some other years have had one. Like, it felt basically from the moment that Oppenheimer debuted in July of last year that it was going to be a heavy contender, if not the clear front runner. And there's not a movie quite like that this year.
There's one thing that I saw on Twitter where someone had like a viral tweet, and then they promoted Amelia Perez. So I had to follow that through. I was like, no, because you have Amelia Perez, and then you have, the rose thing that they're trying to sell. So I go and I click it, and there's like a page that's a random fan doing FYCs for Amelia Perez. What's the movie that got in trouble?
Oh, was it To Leslie for Fran Fisher's campaign for, what's her name? Andrea Riseborough.
Look, I ain't no snitch, but if this gets in, I'm calling cases on this because I'm seeing it already. You can't do that. Look,
stan culture is going to push it. Selena Gomez is one of the most followed people on social media in the world.
Even bigger than most followed people in the world. I still remember when they broke down who has the most bots following them, and it was because Selena Gomez's fans are so into her. Her own fans buy the bots to beat them out. It's insane, dude. So when I was seeing that the fans are running paid FYC campaigns, I was astonished, yet also I almost kind of respected that, bro. Like, I wish Conclave unite. We can give 10% like the Conclave does, and we can get it.
Fines Hive, stand up.
We need to give our tithes. But I just personally, I can see why it could still remain. but I see no reason for it. I feel like the biggest thing, as you're mentioning, would be acting. I think it's monumental if that's the thing that they're looking for, to give a nomination to Emilia Perez for the lead performance. Everything else in it, because you got more than 10 on here, and if I already got to knock out one, bro. But
all right, well, let's talk about the next
we
five.
knocking out two. Okay.
I mean, look, I don't think Wicked is one of the strongest movies of the year, but I think there is a branch of cinema lover, Academy voter that really is into this kind of version of a Hollywood movie. And, you know, musicals have been a bit hit or miss, but like, it seems like the people who are into the movie musicals are into this one. I don't know. Maybe it's another one that's going to benefit from stan culture. I just kind of think that like Wicked's got enough going for it that it'll get in. I mean, if it's, I don't know, it's getting that kind of push there, you know, from the marketing and everything. It's just sort of omnipresent.
Yeah, it's not even debatable. The numbers it's putting up, the reception it's gotten, the fact that it's entire...
It's this year's Barbie in that sense.
Now that's a great point to put it. But do you want it to be this year's Barbie? Because didn't Barbie go home with zilch?
I mean, I would be okay if that was a situation for Wicked, but that's another story.
Gotcha. You want the nomination. You don't really care for it to take home a win. Because so far, like even on IMDb, we always talk about the difference. Stan culture on IMDb, I wouldn't say is usually pushing a movie like this, and even there, appreciating it at that point. Everyone who's in the below the line cast or crew, a lot of these people who are head of the departments also have received nominations. So you're already with a whole filmmaking talented team that is well versed on an Oscar run, that have all already had one. I see it picking up several nominations for sure. I, like you, though, think it's an honor to just be nominated sometimes and keep it up.
Yeah, we need to celebrate nominations more than just like talk about who's going to win. I think. My next selection is Nickel Boys. I just think that's like perhaps the artistic achievement of the year. And maybe I'm setting myself up for a little bit of heartbreak for people who aren't willing to like go to that place with this movie. But it is getting the kinds of like raves from critics that I think will help push it, you know, especially if it can pick up some like momentum from picking up critics awards and some of the smaller awards. I kind of see Nickel Boys getting in there. I don't know. It's
like this year's Moonlight, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It is literally playing at all the same festivals. It's got the rise all the way to the top. It's a monumental achievement that at the end of the day, we might have a La La Land 2.0, to be honest with you. Maybe this does get awarded after they give it to Dune or Emilia. Wicked! Nickel Boys!
Yeah, we can only hope because it's an undeniable artistic achievement.
But to me, it's one of those where it's like, if you're going to lock this in as a nominee, then you sound like an idiot not putting it as Best Picture. But that's also me who has conclave over Nickel Boys. But that's just me.
Right.
It has got to get nominated. But like, what else? Script?
Yeah, script. I wouldn't be surprised in cinematography either. It is such a singular looking film.
Yeah, true. No, definitely for sure. Nickel Boys. I mean, I would love this one to be. I just got my mom to go see it too.
Nice.
I got the A-list and everything. I got A-list from my mom, my sister. They watch more movies than I do now. A Real Pain is still my favorite out of Sundance. One of my favorites of the year.
Absolutely. And like in this part of the list, we're getting into the movies where I'm starting to like have a little bit less confidence on whether or not they'll get in. I do have this one getting in because I think ultimately people are just sort of responding and connecting emotionally to this movie. Like I don't think that most of the people that I hear talking about this movie are talking much necessarily about like the cinematography or the production design, but they're all talking about how moved they were by it, and they're talking about that incredible Kieran Culkin performance, which I think is the front runner for supporting actor right now.
So that to me, I have more faith in than it getting in Best Picture, because when we're sitting there reading or listening to nominations, it has to be the first one named. So right off the bat, I'm going to feel the pain.
Well,
when it doesn't get nominated. So I'm not expecting.
Are they going to go by the A or are they going to go by the R in real?
Why wouldn't they go by the A?
Do they go by the thes when they announce the somethings? I actually don't remember if they go alphabetically.
That's a great question. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well,
But if
speaking
they
of
say a complete unknown, then you know for a fact.
yeah, I actually did a little bit of research on this. If both A Real Pain and A Complete Unknown get nominated for Best Picture, it will be the first time in Academy Awards history that two movies beginning with the word A were nominated in the same year. We haven't had a Best Picture nominee since A Serious Man in 2009.
A Serious Man?
Yeah.
Damn.
Been a long
that's
time
been a
coming.
long time
We're
since an
overdue for the A movies.
We've been waiting for the A's.
Speaking of which, A Complete Unknown. I just got to see this movie over the weekend. The film about Bob Dylan's transition from folk to electric music, and played by Timothée Chalamet in a performance that people are highly anticipating because this feels like tailor-made to give him some kind of awards run. And I would not be surprised to see it. I think he is really convincing in this part. There's obviously like a bit of watching Tim Chalamet do the thing, but like I found him to be pretty transformational in a way that I don't always expect from him, and really just convincing throughout as much of this movie is. I think what's really cool about it, and I can't wait to talk to you in more depth about it in the future, but it's a movie that's really actually focused on the music when depicting a famous musician. It really tries to put the music that Dylan was making in context, not only of where folk as a genre is at the time, but where America is at the time, and how all of these things sort of influence and grow together. And, it just deepens your understanding of so much of the music, as well as why the music specifically was significant, that I thought it did a thing that I look for more of these music biopics to do. And that's like actually sort of show what made this person special in the moment when they were special. I think it's a pretty excellent one. It only occasionally ventures into walk hard territory, and mostly is really, really well done.
I was about to ask you, because when it comes to the walk hard and what it makes fun of, this man did walk the line. That's an epitome for me in terms of music biopics. Up there with it. Quite close.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's close. I would want to see it again before I officially crown it, but like I really dug it. I think it's quite well done. Interestingly, Johnny Cash in this one as well. Boyd Holbrook plays Johnny Cash and is very convincing.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That might just work.
He's due. Yeah, the cast.
He's due. James is crazy, bro. James Gold does one. It's Logan, blows people away. Then he'll go do something else. Then he'll come. He'll do that Indiana Jones. This might be the one.
Definitely.
I like a lot of his movies that I'm showcasing right there.
Yeah, look, there's so much going on for this movie, not just the Timothée Chalamet performance. I think Edward Norton is going to be in talks for supporting actor, playing Pete Seeger. He's so amazing in this kind of like soft voice, sing-songy way. Monica Barbaro was a complete revelation to me because I was not like super familiar with her work, but is so good as Joan Baez.
Yo, she played Joan Baez? Damn.
Yeah.
Like she just had her doc too. Okay. Interesting. I'm rooting for her. Good for her. I thought she was funny in this Paramount movie, and there's no reason I should be watching Paramount movies, but when she got the Top Gun push, it's good to see her have over here. A lot of the Top Gun people are moving on up. Right after that one comes out, we're going to have the Captain America one.
Right.
Well, right. I didn't even realize that.
It's almost like they cast that movie really well.
They cast that movie super well, but I don't know if you saw the trailer for the newest Captain America, since we're talking about Best Picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good, but
it's decent.
It looked decent. Okay, we'll talk about that later. No, that's good to hear for Monica.
I might watch it.
Monica Barbaro. Good for her. All right. James Mangold, Timothée Chalamet. What is this? Christmas Day, no?
Yeah, Christmas Day. So coming eventually. We'll talk about it more then. My last in the top 10 for my predictions, the 10 that I actually think will get Best Picture nominations. I finally caught September 5th. I know you talked about it back when you got your Chicago coverage. It is a very solidly made minute-by-minute thriller. It's... I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult. It might not. It might be both. It might be neither. It feels like the kind of movie that, like, in the mid 2000s, HBO would have made, and it would have cleaned up at the TV Emmys.
Yes, and that's
right?
not a bad
like
thing.
It's just that's not really a bad thing. It's like a very sort of no frills, solid, tense thriller that's well acted and has like some interesting perspectives, but it also, like, it's not very overtly political. It's really just trying to be like an on the ground movie, and I think it's effective.
Hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it, bro, because it is 91 minutes. It is probably the easiest movie to recommend, and I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Definitely. So those are the 10 movies that I think are getting in. Let's talk about 5 that are maybe on the bubble. And I saw some people talking in the live stream about this already, but the number 1 movie I got on that bubble is Sing Sing. This is a movie that came out in the summer and was met with absolute rave reviews because it's kind of like an undeniably moving piece of cinema that really represents so much of like what the power of stories does. It's got this incredible performance from Coleman Domingo at the center, which is certainly going to help that movie's chances, but it feels like A24 kind of hasn't gotten this a lot of push. I don't know if they're like saving it for award season. I know,
yeah, like a secret or some secret push or something, but it kind of feels like it fizzled.
Yeah, and
it's a good movie. I like it.
Yeah, it is a good movie, and like it certainly like should be in the discussion. I just think that like the momentum is maybe dying down on it a little bit. I think sometimes there are these movies that like are really beloved, but it's by too small of a pocket of people to really like break through in that way. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see it get nominated, especially because I think Coleman Domingo has a good shot at a nomination.
I agree with you because there's still all the smaller award things that they'll be doing. And in that lead up from the Gothams to all the Indie Spirits to all those different things, there tends to be a movie that breaks through. I know we have Anora, and I feel like that maybe qualifies for a lot of those. But Sing Sing, if it's not competing with A Real Pain, one of them is bound to. And to me, the chances for Best Picture have also gone down for me, like I've seen it has for you. But I still wanted to secure some acting, dude. To me, it still has a couple spots.
Yeah, Trevor Adams in the live stream pointing out Clarence Macklin, who is also a big contender. We'll see. It still could get its way back into that top 10 before January. I got The Substance on my list as well. This is not a movie that is at all the Academy's typical taste. Normally they would like rather shut down the ceremony than acknowledge a horror film. But I think that this speaks to enough things that people within Hollywood would respond to. And it also features these kind of like titanic performances from a legend in Demi Moore and an ingenue in Margaret Qualley that I think could just keep it on the radar. And the people who love this movie really do love this movie. I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked if The Substance made its way in. I don't have it. I don't predict it, but
I'm rooting for it.
I'm rooting for it. It'd be cool.
I think is it not the only movie?
It is the only movie we're discussing.
And
at least in America.
Movie money. So I think they're going to go all out with this. I think it's going to be a great nomination. I think it's going to be a great aspect of the show. I think it's going to make the conversations around The Substance even bigger at that point, because at that point you've given it a certification. And I think it's a movie that's so bonkers, it's worth it. I think it's a great genre film. Out of all the ones that we've mentioned, we've got musicals in here, and musicals in here. So I do think that having something like The Substance would be cool. Maybe even if it doesn't end up being, but I think Best Picture would be awesome. But maybe a performance as well.
That would be dope. My next one here, I got Blitz. I feel like this one hasn't really been met with a lot of raves, but it is a really solidly made film from a highly respected auteur, Steve McQueen. And weekend must-watch listeners, I don't know if all of you have had a chance to catch up with our recent video where we talked about the best films from Steve McQueen, our Steve McQueen bracket. I do want to play just a little clip to entice y'all to maybe give that episode a watch. Back for another filmmaker bracket. And this time we're doing it in tribute to Steve McQueen.
I am excited to talk about Bullet, The Great Escape, The Magnificent Seven. It's going to be a great Steve McQueen bracket, bro.
You might have showed up for the wrong episode. We are doing Steve McQueen, just not quite that one. Who is Sir Steve Rodney McQueen, who was knighted by Queen Elizabeth?
You got the sir?
Yeah, he got a knighthood in 2020. Yeah.
I did not know that.
The Brit has developed a reputation for minimalist storytelling that leaves a strong impact, often exploring challenging real-world histories, as well as the fragility of the human condition.
When I was first getting into watching movies, I searched up the greatest filmmakers of all time, and it showed me a list of like the current best filmmakers, and Steve McQueen was on that list. And the first film that it said under his name was 12 Years a Slave. And that was the first film I watched from him. And I just like fell in love with his filmmaking style and just like the way that he forms stories and expresses with his characters. I just fell in love with every single aspect of his filmmaking style through that movie. And then later on, as the years progressed, I watched a lot of his other movies, and that's kind of just how I fell in love with
I think it was literally when I started my first YouTube channel. I went to go see 12 Years a Slave. I walked out of that. I was like, no, this is the best movie of the year. I went back, reverse engineered it all. Shame had just come out. I went to go find Hunger, tried to find all these little tiny things that he had done. I mean, the man has made, in our opinion, some of the best movies, and this is the reason why we're doing a whole bracket for him.
So yeah, I'm going to say that Blitz's chances are fading, but they're not completely gone, at least.
But we still hold him in our heart. As I said, the worst thing that can happen to this movie is for it to do an Oscar campaign and where it becomes the Oscar bait movie that people are saying. And to me, I think he wanted to make this movie. You don't need the Oscar. You already got the Oscar. I still like Blitz. I know it's underwhelming for a lot of people, but it's over on Apple. I'm more rooting for this next one that you have on the list. For sure.
Yeah. Challengers, I mean, it felt like A24 was kind of clearing the way to push queer for Luca Guadagnino, and then people saw it and it didn't really connect in the way that you'd expect for it to be like a major Oscars player, and it kind of feels like that's leaving a little room for Challengers, this movie that I think was really widely loved and considered one of the best of the year earlier in this year, and it just not been getting as much of an awards push. So I don't know. I mean, I think now they're maybe coming around to the idea that it could be a player. I've seen some for your consideration events happening. This is just like an undeniably fun movie. I think, you know, in the best version of the Oscars, we get this as a Best Picture nominee.
It's also MGM.
It's also, yeah.
Do they have anybody else on your list? Yeah. Because that's what I see.
They've got Nickel Boys as well, but like I think they can split between those two.
Yeah, but that's bad. That's what we're talking about. Once you start seeing a split there of, damn.
I don't know. Maybe they put all their eggs in the Nickel Boys basket, but like Challengers is such a different movie as well.
Dude, can you imagine Challengers? Substance. Complete unknown. Emilia what bonkers.
There is a possibility that we have like one of the best Best Picture slates of all time here. I don't think that's what's going to end up shaking out, but like there's a lot of good contenders. Insane.
Sex worker movie, 3.5 hour building blocks. What would you call Conquest? House of Cardinals?
Game of People Thrones, yeah.
If you know anything, that would be an insane thing. But you still got one more?
One more movie that I just don't think we should forget about, and it's Nosferatu, man. This is a movie that is still waiting to be released on December 25th. I don't know how many people have had the chance to see it. It didn't do the festival circuit like a lot of these other movies. I caught it today. I caught it.
Okay.
Yeah, Caitlin went before 4.5 on it, and she's like, I might have to up it to a 5 on the rewatch, because damn, dude, Nosferatu is the real deal. I think this might be Robert Eggers' first movie. Excuse me. I think this might be Robert Eggers' best movie ever. I think, I don't know, man. He's always a filmmaker that's impressed me, but this has just got such incredible control over mood, over tone, over ambiance, and the way that it just creates this sense of foreboding, this ominous feeling is so masterful. And just on a craft level, it looks incredible. This movie doesn't feel like it was written. It feels like it was like like brought forth from an old dusty tome. I was really just blown away and shaken by his monster movie vision. We're just doing a quick reaction here because I want to wait till you see it so we can talk about it in more detail. But I think this movie is quite incredible, and it's also just this amazing production, like the detail of it, the production design of it, the look of it. I don't see a good reason why the Oscars should ignore something that is so finely crafted. And, you know, they haven't really looked at Eggers in the past, but I just think there's something so classical and amazing about this production. It would be a worthy contender for sure if they would just acknowledge some horror movies, but maybe that's a little too much to ask.
This feels like the horror movie they would, though. Nosferatu, a classic being remade.
And it's also like, it's not,
they haven't given their due,
sensational or indulgent. Like, you know, the substance, it's great, obviously, but it's also a movie that's very in your face about its horror elements. Like it's upsetting, but this just feels a little bit more
the tone,
like refined in a certain way. Yeah. Like it's really calculated, and I don't know, man. I think Nosferatu is excellent. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. I'm very eager to rewatch it already.
Well, I know you wanted to film the best of the year a little early, but if we don't get a screening to this bad boy, we're going to have to wait. Nosferatu
Maybe you can just pencil it in on your list if you don't see it in time.
My favorite trailer of the year. No, bro, I'm gonna have to wait. You can't pull up on me and tell me this is a 5-star movie. And then say, well, you might have to postpone it. Zach also said, by the way, now that he's talking about 4.5-star movie, maybe a 5, he's like, I don't know if it's in my top 10. Boy, I don't think you've given another 10 4.5 stars.
It's on the Challengers level. It's got that 4.5 for me.
Zach's like, it's a masterpiece. I hope it gets Best Picture. Everything I've seen from this feels like it was... Life was breathed into this, like you said, from like the catacombs of wherever the original Nosferatu was buried. I think that he has gone full out. This feels like everything he's done from The Witch, The Northman. What am I missing? Lighthouse, which I know everybody really loves. This is my last... I mean, when we were asked anticipated film, I think I said Nosferatu.
Yeah, this was high on my list for sure.
It has not changed. Hopefully I see it soon, but I'm so excited. Like, to me, this is what wraps the year, and that's it. I keep forgetting about A Complete Unknown, but this wraps the year. I'm set.
Yeah, dude. Baby Ratu weekend for Christmas is going to be pretty intense. Man. Dude,
I saw Babygirl.
Wait, you did? Did we talk about this?
By accident, bro. No, now that I remember. I mean, you saw like 3 movies by accident, too. Let me see Babygirl. I'm looking through my stuff because I had gotten an invite for Queer and for Babygirl. Are you putting this anywhere?
I think this movie might be a little bit too horny for the Academy. If it gets anywhere, maybe Kidman and actress.
Kidman and actress is great.
Yeah. She brings it for sure. I don't know if this is the Academy's taste.
Man, I came home. I was like, all right.
It's my taste.
And then we were sitting there and we were like, wait, all right. And then we woke up the next morning and we were like, no. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know she has been one of my favorite directors. And she continues to kill it, bro. What I thought this movie was not what I thought this movie was. I started wondering about like 3 different ways how to perceive the movie. I thought the performances were fantastic. I think this delivers on all levels. You heard about the cucumbers?
Yeah.
Nasty stuff. This has pretty much become 50 Shades of Grey, but like, I don't want to say art house, but more of a film festival. Film festival 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, well, because it like actually, unlike 50 Shades of Grey, I think it actually has some insight to human nature and particularly shame's role in like achieving fruition or sexual pleasure. We have some people in the comments bringing up the Too Horny for the Academy in relation to Honora. Let's get this straight. Honora is a movie about a sex worker. It is not a horny movie. Babygirl is a horny movie. This is a movie that is about like desire and like kink and.
To expand on what Zach is saying is that I saw this at a press screening, and in watching the press screening, there is a moment where the character needs to find elation, and in finding that, it is not the noises that you think of, which are high and mighty. They are grunts. They are literal, just exclamations of release. And I expected all the dudes in the screening to not know what Nicole Kidman was doing. I was saddened, Zach, when I saw all the women go, "What is she? Wait."
Yeah, I saw this one at Toronto.
Zach's not lying when he says this is a movie talking about horniness, like the desire of it. There's one thing that Harris Dickinson does when he tells her to get on her knees, and he laughs. Alina refuses to believe that was filmed more than once.
Yeah, no, it feels so genuine and spontaneous.
It's different.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw this one in Toronto, sitting next to Amanda, and we're really good friends, but we're not those kind of we're not that kind of friends.
It's different. Honora is about a sex worker, and you say action. Here, I kid you not, Helena must have just told both of the actors, turn her on, action. And like what they do is crazy. It's an uncomfortable movie, and it slights you at first. You don't think you get out of it, and you're like, okay, that happened. But then the more you sit with it, you start realizing what the character motivations are. This isn't. It is a plot movie. But it's more about what's motivating characters to do what they do. And that's a movie for adults. I would love to see it get in there. And we were just talking about Nicole Kidman last week. Man, Nicole Kidman.
Walks that walk.
How, like, we've seen her in so many different things, and somehow she stands out every single time. Like, I don't fall for whatever she already was. And then I catch her on the AMC ad, and I'm like, still completely different to me. So yeah, Nicole Kidman, she did a fantastic job. Harris Dickinson continues to be one of the standout actors in my opinion.
Yeah,
good stuff. But yeah, I did get to catch this one, a last minute play there. I think it's a solid movie because at that point, we're talking about Nosferatu, we're talking about Babygirl. Help me.
A Complete Unknown. And I think there's one more even. Is Brutalist Christmas as well? I think
Thank
Brutalist.
You. Yeah, Brutalist, because it's 3.5 hours. Someone combined the runtime for all 4 movies, and they said, I think I got to start Christmas Eve.
You can successfully avoid your family.
Oh, but yeah, no, we have a great lineup coming up. Zach also has his list up, right? Public, if I'm not mistaken, for his Oscar Best Picture predictions, which you can go check out.
I didn't make it public, but I'll make it public just for you. How about that?
Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm trying to think of what else I would put from the outside to slip in here, but I feel like you got a majority of them. You had Nosferatu. We already talked about Gladiator, so I know that's a no from you. You don't see any foreign films, perhaps international films like Seed of the Sacred Fig?
It always is a possibility. Seed of the Sacred Fig is probably the strongest contender. There's a bunch of people who think Wild Robot, maybe, but I don't know, man. If some of the classics that we've seen didn't get into the top Best Picture list, I don't know if Wild Robot's going to make it.
True. Oh, good. Trevor also says Fire Inside is on Christmas. I think that's at home, though, but it's going to be a packed Christmas, bro. We got some really good movies coming out, so I keep forgetting December's kind of packed, bro. There's a Sonic movie coming out. I know someone was
Can't do our best
Minecraft.
of the year until we see that.
Someone had mentioned Minecraft, bro. What y'all got? When does this come out? Minecraft movie.
Sometime next year, right?
Is it next year?
It's a Minecraft movie.
Don't you ever correct me again on that. Absolutely not. No, I was about to have you redo your whole list because you forgot a movie. But yeah, you've been safe.
Speaking of the A movies.
Not till next year.
Oscar contenders.
There you go. So for next year, we already got our A movie. There you go. Oh yeah, that would have been another one too. Thank you. Life is so rich. All we imagine as light. I'm rooting for it to get the foreign. I don't have enough.
So that's the
I barely
thing.
have enough faith for international on that one.
Well, that's the thing. India did not select All We Imagine Is Light, so it won't be eligible in foreign. So some people think that they're going to still mount a campaign to try and get in Best Picture. That's just a
That's
real
not happening,
underdog
bro.
battle. Yeah,
Neon?
yeah. Without
Neon?
right, yeah.
France?
I think so.
Neon France?
Oh, Titan. Yeah.
No. They fell. They
Oh,
fell from
Portrait
the
of
roof.
a Lady on Fire, which
Not
also
that one either. They fell from the roof.
Oh, Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah.
Thank you.
But
There we
that
go.
got into international. That's your point, right?
No. France did not submit it. It was not eligible for international, so they
Oh,
ran
you're
their
totally
own
right.
campaign and ended up not just getting nominated, but winning an award.
Yeah, you're totally right. So I guess it's possible. I just I don't know if All We Imagine Is Light is Anatomy of a Fall.
It's not, because if you remember, Anatomy of a Fall got there because of Neon. That even Neon's sister movie, which was Origin, got really upset and called out Anatomy of a Fall because Neon was pushing that one more than that. So I think that's where a lot of it ends up coming out. But the movie that did get nominated is good. It's just not All We Imagine Is Light. When I saw it at TIFF a couple years ago, it was called
Santosh? Or that's what it's called now, right?
Wait, they submitted Santosh? I thought they were submitting
I think
something
they submitted
ladies.
Santosh. Or maybe the UK submitted Santosh. I could be wrong about that. You might
Yeah.
be right. You might be right.
It's
My bad.
something ladies. I forgot what it was called. When I saw it, it was. It's about like 3 wives that get swapped on the day that they're supposed to get married. It was cute. I wouldn't have picked it as a submission. I would definitely have gone with All We Imagine Is Light, but hey, that'll be
Oh,
there.
La Pata Ladies. Yeah, that's it.
There you
As
go.
long as
I'm blanking.
we're correcting
Single ladies?
me. Yeah, maybe they changed the title, but it's La Pata
Yeah,
Ladies
they changed the
now,
title,
yeah.
but that's the one. That's the one that played at TIFF. It's funny. It was on Netflix too. I don't know. Maybe some politicking from the back, but yeah.
Yeah.
See, some other people mentioned
As long as we're
stuff. Amelia
correcting
Perez.
me, I was going to say Janus Films is the one releasing All We Imagine Is Light. Just, I got that one wrong earlier.
I don't think they got the money for it either. They just don't.
Magnitude, you said it brought up Amelia Perez as France's nomination.
Yep, that's this year's,
yeah.
Which is probably the one place they might score something. Trevor had also mentioned last year it didn't get it because Taste of Things got it. But Anatomy was
Anatomy
last year?
didn't get it. Yeah, that was last year.
Why does I feel like it was 2 years ago? we get late. We gotta wrap this up.
We've been through a lifetime, man. Yeah.
Damn. No, the Anatomy of a Fall came out in 2014. We just covered it in our bracket.